This part of the earth is extremely cold, and the most of it is covered with ice and snow. So how is this area, how is this Greenland? It is always covered by ice and snow. Climate. The climate is very cold throughout the year. On the ice caps, the temperature is always below freezing point. The climate along the coast is pleasant in summer season. The weather being usually sunny and dry. The Arctic Circle passes through the southern part of Greenland. Most of Greenland therefore lies in the frigid zone in the northern hemisphere. This region is known as the tundra region. So most of the Greenland, where it is? Most of the Greenland therefore lies in the frigid zone in the northern hemisphere. So where is the most of the Greenland? It is in the frigid zone. So that one we call frigid zone in northern hemisphere. So that one we call what? Tundra region. What is tundra region? So most of the Greenland lies in the frigid zone in the northern hemisphere. That one we call tundra region. So how is the climate in the Greenland? So in the Greenland climate, it is always covered with ice and snow. This region is also known as the tundra region. More than 4/5 of the total area of Greenland is covered with permanent ice and snow. Most of the highest Greenland is along the coast and as low mountains. Through the gaps in the mountains, ice spills into sea from the glaciers. When ice reaches the water, it sometimes breaks off and floats out into the sea as icebergs. What is icebergs? What do you mean by icebergs, students? Icebergs are large masses of ice floating in the sea and are found mainly to the south of Greenland. So what is icebergs? Icebergs are large masses of ice floating. Large masses of ice floating into a sea, in the sea. In the sea is called icebergs. So how it is very long, it has many kilometers long and weight up to tons. It weighs up to tons. Vegetation. So fact finder. Icebergs are actually much larger than they seem. That is because when an iceberg floats on water, most of it remains underwater. Icebergs ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು sea ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ it looks like a small. ಹೇಗೆ why? What is the reason? ಏನಕ್ಕೆ icebergs ಅಂದ್ರೆ large masses of ice floating in the sea. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು icebergs ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು sea ಅಲ್ಲಿ icebergs ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ it looks small. How? Why? What is the reason? Because most of all part of that icebergs are covered in a underground. It remains in underground, so it looks like a small. Vegetation. As most of the whole island is covered with ice, there is hardly any greenery. No plants or vegetation can grow during the short summer season. Short grass and lichen grow. There is not much economic activity except hunting and fishing. So it is a very cold region. We all know that it is a very cold region, no? Greenland. So there is no greenery. It is always covered with ice and snow. So there is no any vegetation. We cannot see any plants. But in summer season, very short vegetation only we can see in the Greenland. Wildlife. Animals which can bear extreme cold are found on this island. These include polar bear, reindeer, Arctic fox, musk ox, and polar wolf. The powerful wolf-like dogs called huskies are important domestic animals using for pulling sledges. Seals and whales are found along the coast, which is hunted by the people. So which are the animals we can see in the Greenland means it is a cold region. No? So what happens there? So which animal can bear that climate? So that type of animal we can see in the Greenland. So which are the animals? Polar bear, walrus, a seal, and another one animal, the powerful wolf-like dog is called huskies. What is huskies? Wolf-like dog is called huskies. What is huskies, children? Hey, huskies, children. Wolf-like dogs. Wolf-like dogs are called huskies. It is a domestic animal. It is also used to pull the sledges. So sledges I will show after what is sledges means. So seals and whales. So these animals we can see near the coastal region. So it is hunted by the people. What is the main occupation of these people? Fishing and hunting. So what is the occupation of Greenland people? Fishing and hunting are the occupation of these people. So these all topics we learned in last class. So next, life of the people. The native people called Greenlanders are mainly of Eskimo origin. The Eskimos who originally came from North America have learned to live in the harsh climate by working hard. They have a fat and short body with copper or yellow colored skin. Eskimos are expert at fishing and hunting. Eskimos live in tents or igloos according to the season. In summer, they erect tents made of seal or reindeer hide, while in winter, they construct igloos. During winter journeys, they would build temporary shelters made of snow. They make igloos by cutting hard packed snow into blocks. Today, most Eskimos live in modern houses. They hunt seals, whales, walrus, and polar bears. Earlier, they used orphans, spears, and bows to kill the animals. A orphan is a spear with a rope attached to it. They throw the orphan across a distance and use the rope to pull back the animal that has been speared to recover the orphan. During winter months, the Eskimos hunt for seals. They cut a round hole on top of a frozen river or the edge of the sea. The seal swimming under the ice come near the hole to breathe. So they wait near the hole and kill the seal with their spears. Eskimos make use of almost every part of a seal. They eat the meat mostly raw. Use the skin for cloths and tendons to make sewing thread, bones to make needles, and orphan eggs, and burn the fat as fuel. The cloths made out of seal skin are worn with the fur turned inside or outside according to need. Men and women all wear almost the same type of clothes. The jacket with a hood is called parka. The animals in Greenland are trapped for their valuable fur, which is in great demand. We think that Eskimos always live in igloos or snow houses. This is not true. Igloo is an Eskimo word for any kind of house. Now they have machinery like outboard motors and powered sledges, steel knives and even radio and television. Some Eskimo settlements have electricity. Development. The spread of education and the development of industry such as oil drilling and mining had drawn the Eskimos into the modern world. Hunters used rifles in place of spears or rifles. Fur farms have been set up to breed animals. Many are settled in cities like New, and air transport has brought them closer to the rest of the world. Fish processing is the major industry in Greenland. Sheep raised in small numbers in the southwestern coast. A very small part of land in the southwest is suitable for agriculture and some vegetables such as potatoes are grown. So now we are going to discuss about the life of the people. How the Greenland peoples, how is the life of the Greenland peoples. So life of the people. The native people called Greenlanders, the people who stay there only in that region, in that area only they are the native people. They are called Greenlanders. Who is Greenlanders? What do you mean by Greenlanders means? The native people of Greenland region. The native people of Greenland region. The native people of Greenland region is known as Greenlanders, are mainly of Eskimo region. So where are they from? Eskimo region. The Eskimos who originally came from North America are learned to live in the harsh climate by working hard. So what is Eskimos means? Who are Eskimos means? They are from North America. Our North America. The Eskimos are from North America. They are working hard in this harsh climate. Harsh climate means that Greenland is always covered by snow and ice. So it has a harsh climate. In that harsh climate, these Eskimo peoples means they are from North America who came to work hard there. They have a fat and short body with copper or yellow colored skin. ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ Eskimos ತುಂಬಾ ದಪ್ಪದಾಗಿ. They have a very fat and short body ಅಂದ್ರೆ short body ಇರುತ್ತೆ with copper or yellow colored skin. Skin ಯಾವ ಕಲರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? What is the color of the Eskimo people? Yellow or copper color skin. They are called Eskimos. Eskimos are expert at fishing and hunting. So what is the occupation? Main occupation of the Eskimos? Fishing and hunting are the occupation of Eskimos. So don't get confused, children. Eskimos means they are from North America who living in this Greenland region. So they are living in that harsh climate and working hard. So they are very far. ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ Eskimos? They are very fat. ತುಂಬಾ ದಪ್ಪದಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ short body short ಆಗಿದೆ. They are very short with very fat. So what is the color of the skin? Yellow or copper color skin. Eskimos live in tents or igloos according to the season. So where do they live? In Eskimos or tents. Eskimos live igloos ಅಥವಾ tent ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Igloos means Eskimos live that house is called igloos. So according to the season, it depends on the season. They will live in tents or in igloos. In summer, they erect tents made of silk or reindeer hide, while in winter they construct igloos. For example, summer season alli tents na hakoತಾರೆ. So how that tent is made up of? Tents ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ? So it is made up of reindeer. Reindeer is an animal. Reindeer hide. It is made up of reindeer hide, while in winter they construct igloos. Summer tents winters in the winter season they live in igloos. During winter journeys, they would build temporary shelters made of snow. Winter season ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? So snow in ಸ್ನೋ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ನೋ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಸ್ನೋನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ igloos ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. See the picture children. So this is igloos. So hard packed snow. So hard packed snow. So in that they will make it igloos to live in winter season. So in first picture people of Greenland Eskimos. So see how they are Eskimos. Their skin are yellow or copper color. They are very fat and they are short body. Today most Eskimos live in modern houses. So they are ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಿತ್ತು Eskimos igloos tents ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. So by the development ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ modern houses ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ. So they hunt seals, whales, walrus and polar bears. So ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಗ್ರೀನ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. seals, whales, walrus and polar bears. So these are all animals. So these animals are hunted by the people. Earlier they used arpons, spears and bows to kill the animals. So what are weapons they used to hunting? ಯಾವ weapons na use ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು? Arpons, spear and bows to kill the animals. A arpon is a spear with a rope attached to it. So ಏನು arpon ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is a spear. Arpon ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? ಅದು ಒಂದು spear ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ rope ನ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು arpon ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರೀತಾರೆ. They throw the arpon across a distance and use the rope to pull back the animal that has been spear or to recover the arpon. So ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? arpon ನ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಸೊ ಥ್ರೆಡ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದರಿಂದ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ನ ಎಳಿತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆಗ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಕೂಡ ಹಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ arpon will come back again. It will recover to again. During winter months, the Eskimos hunt for seals. So, ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ winter season ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ seal is an animal. So they will hunt the seals. Why? They cut a round hole on top of frozen river or the edge of the sea. ಸಮುದ್ರದ ತುದಿಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? They cut a round hole. ರೌಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಲ್ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. The seals swimming under the ice come near the hole to breathe. Seals ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ seals ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಅದೇನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಸ್ವಿಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ sealsಗೆ ಬ್ರೀತಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? Seal is an animal. S-E-A-L. Seal is an animal. So this animal live in the sea. ಸಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಈ animal. So it live in sea. So this seal is hunted by the Eskimos. Eskimos is seal. Seal is an animal. It is hunted by the Eskimos. So what they will do? They will make a hole around the sea. In the end of the sea, they will make a hole. Hole ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಜಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ತೂತ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಮುದ್ರದ ತುದಿಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಹೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? ಈ ಸೀಲ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಬಂದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಿಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಹೋಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಬ್ರೀತಿಂಗಿಗೆ, ಉಸಿರಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ವೇಟ್ ನಿಯರ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಿಲ್ ದ ಸೀಲ್ ವಿತ್ ದೇರ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್. ಆ ಸೀಲ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಸ್ಕಿಮೋಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸೀಲ್. ಸೊ ಸೀಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನು ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಇದೆ ಆ ಅನಿಮಲ್ನ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ನವರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಈಟ್ ದ ಮೀಟ್. ಆ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಆ ಮಾಂಸನ ಅವರು ತಿಂತಾರೆ. ಮೀಟ್ ನ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ರಾ. ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಕಿನ್. ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಟೆಂಡನ್ಸ್ ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಸೀವಿಂಗ್ ಥ್ರೆಡ್. ಆ ಥ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಟೆಂಡನ್ಸ್ ನ. ಬೋನ್ಸ್ ಸೀಲ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಬೋನ್ಸ್ ನ ನೀಡಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫನ್ ಎಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬರ್ನ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಯಲ್. ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಸೀಲ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಇರುವಂತ ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿಸಿ ಬರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಅದನ್ನ ಫ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ದ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ seal skin are worn with the fur turned inside or outside according to need. So ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರಲ್ಲ seal skin ಇಂದ, ಸೊ jacket with a hood is called parka. What is parka? A jacket made of wood. A jacket made of wood is called parka. Diamond in Greenland are tapped for the valuable for which is in great demand. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುವಂತ animals ಗೆ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ತುಂಬಾ demand ಇದೆ. It has a great demand in other countries. We think that Eskimos always live in igloos or snow houses. Now we all know that Eskimos are always living in igloos or snow houses. So ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ igloos ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ snow houses ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ? This is not true. Igloos is an Eskimo word for any kind of house. ಅವರು ಯಾವುದೇ ಈ ಎಸ್ಕಿಮೋಸ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ ಮನೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು igloos ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರೀತೀವಿ. It can be made of ice, stone, wood or skins. So it may be made of ice, stone, ice ಇಂದನಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡಿರಬಹುದು, stones ಇಂದನೂ ಮಾಡೋದಿರಬಹುದು. So ice Eskimos ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೋ ಆ ಮನೆನ ಆ ಹೌಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Igloos. Snow houses are made only in winter. Snow houses ನ ಯಾವ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? Only in winter season. While the Eskimos live in tents during the summer season. What happens in summer season? In summer season they live in tents, but in winter season they live in snow houses. Most of the Eskimos now live in modern huts and houses. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ? Modern houses ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ Eskimos. How the people travel? On the land, the Eskimos travel from one place to another on sledges. See children, sledges. So before when I started the lesson, I said no. So this see the picture. So this is the sledges pulled by an animal. So these are used to travel from one place to another. Pulled by reindeer. This sledges are pulled by reindeer animals. So this is a reindeer animal. It is pulled by reindeer animals. Sledges are pulled by reindeer animals. Or a team of tough wolf-like dogs called huskies. ಇದು ಒಂದು reindeer pull ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ huskies. The Eskimos bowl or kayak is a skin-covered pony which can hold only one person. So pony it is held by only one person. ಅದು ಒಂದು pony ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು travel ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು vehicle. It is only used by one person. Some use a broader boat called umayek. So ಕೆಲವರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಬ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಾಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ ಬೋಟ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ? What we call that one umayek, which is used for whaling and for carrying women and children. Women ಮತ್ತು children ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಬೋಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? umayek. The life of Eskimos has undergone many changes in recent times. Now they have machinery like outboard motors and powerful sledges, steel knives and even radio and television. Some Eskimo settlements have electricity. So now they are get more developed in this Greenland. Development. The spread of education and the development of industries such as oil drilling and mining had drawn the Eskimos into the modern world. So what is the major development here in the Greenland? Development of industry. Which industries? Oil drilling and mining centers have made major development in this land. How did the Eskimos into the modern world? Hunters used rifles in place of spears or orphans. ಮುಂಚೆ spears or orphans na use ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. In lesson only I said. So now they are using rifles. Fur farms have been set up to breed animals. Many have settled in cities like New and air transport has brought them closer to the rest of the world. Fish processing is the major industry in Greenland. Which is the major